Super Smash Bros. One of the most beautiful combinations of three simple words out there. A gaming series that has revolutionized the entire industry and dominated Nintendo sales for over 20 years, still going as strong as ever. With Super Smash Bros. Ultimate soon coming to a close, it is safe to say that we'll see the end of an era. Ever since Smash 4 was announced in 2013, there has been a seemingly endless stream of speculation, and what started out as a fun way to talk about most wanted newcomers has now turned into a battlefield of toxic fans. Everyone feels entitled to their most wanted characters and get offended whenever Sakurai decides to include literally anything else. And now with the last character on the horizon, things are getting steamier than ever. And while no one can agree on who deserves to be in the most, everyone is certain of one thing. Definitely not another Fire Emblem character, and most definitely not another Pokémon. I don't want to get into the whole Fire Emblem thing, but the Pokémon discussion is an interesting one to me. I mean, sure, counting all of them, we have a total of 10 Pokémon in the game, which is the highest count of original characters in one series. However, Pokémon is by definition the biggest series in Smash Bros, so it would only make sense to put some of that sweet marketing into Smash whenever a new generation comes out. Which is why many people are now certain that a Gen 8 Pokémon is bound to come, with Cinderace often being talked about. Now I'm at a stage where I realize my most wanted newcomers probably won't make the cut, so I'm just happy for the fans of whoever gets announced. But I seriously despise the idea of Cinderace. Not because I don't want another Pokemon in, but because I really don't want another fully evolved fire starter, and I just don't think Cinderace would bring anything new to the table. Why not give us a fully evolved grass starter for a change of pace, or how about something completely new? You see, the great thing about Pokemon is that pretty much all of these little monsters are unique, so you could put any Pokemon in the game and it would feel kind of interesting and exciting. Of course, that's not really the case, but still, every Pokemon feels unique and every Pokemon is someone's favorite. Yet, the representation of those unique kinds of monsters isn't the best in Smash. Did you know that out of all 18 Pokemon types, only 12 are represented in Smash in some way or form, with only 9 of them being properly utilized, while only half of the existing gens are represented as well. Half the Pokemon roster goes away for starters, 2 more for Pikachu and co. Well, today I make it my mission to find the perfect new Pokemon, representing the forgotten generations and typings while also fitting into Smash Bros. As a fighter. I'm not saying that this will be the last character, I'm not even saying that this will be the last character if a Pokemon is going to be the last character. All I'm saying is that I want to find the statistically speaking, objectively best Pokemon to add to Super Smash Bros. In order to add new things. Thank you for joining me on this trip to determine which Pokemon would deserve being hated by possibly every Smash fan for being the final character the most. In order to find a statistically perfect Pokemon to add to include as much uniqueness as possible, we first have to find out what truly determines this uniqueness. The 2 criteria we'll be taking a look at are the ones I mentioned earlier, typing and generation. First, let's take a look at the generations, since they're easier to handle. One thing is for sure, Generation 1 doesn't need any more exposure in the Smash series. Out of the 10 Pokemon in Smash, 6 of them are from Gen 1, which is kinda fair since it definitely is the most iconic, yet it still feels a tidbit unfair against other generations. Especially Generations 3 and 5, which have been existing for quite a while now, yet they haven't gotten any representation in form of a Smash fighter yet. You could also argue about the status of Gen 2, with its own representation being a semi-clone. Gens 4, 6 and 7 each also only have 1 Pokemon per generation, but since these are fully fledged fighters, we'll count those 3 generations as already covered. The last and most obvious one is Generation 8. Since Smash Ultimate came out before this generation of Pokemon was even revealed, it was quite hard to include a Pokemon from these games. Until now. Most fans agree that a Gen 8 Pokemon would be the most logical newcomer, and well, they're probably right. But if we're looking at this marketing standpoint, we should also mention the possibility of yet another Generation 4 Pokemon in order to promote the upcoming remakes. Keeping that in mind, we can make out generations that make a lot of sense, mild sense, bit sense, and no sense at all. Now, let's get into the typing hell. For those of you that don't know, there are 18 Pokemon types in total, with 12 of them already being in Smash Bros. Electric, Normal, Fairy, Psychic, Fighting, Steel, Water, Grass, Poison, Fire, Flying, and Dark. Though you could argue that while Poison, Steel and Fairy technically are in the game, they aren't really utilized in any of the respecting Pokemon's moves. As such, I will only kinda count those 3 types. However, this leaves us with 6 types that are yet to be represented in Smash. Ghost, Bug, Rock, Ground, Ice and Dragon. So that's it then, right? Our Pokemon should have one, if not two of these types, and we're good to go. Well, not quite. These are a lot of types, and in order to simplify things, I wanted to really look at what would be entirely new for Smash Bros. And with that, reduce it to just 4 types. Because no matter how you look at it, we simply don't have any sort of Ghost, Bug, or Rocky/Ground fighter in the Smash series. A couple of characters might use Earthquake-like moves, and Mewtwo uses Shadow Ball, but that isn't enough to satisfy me. And while I would love to see an Ice type, I'm just not quite sure if they could bring anything entirely new to the table that isn't too similar to the Ice Climbers. Dragon is a bit more of a stretch, but many Dragon-like moves have already been done by multiple other fighters such as Ridley, Bowser, etc. Plus, we already have a Dragon in this roster in the form of Corrin, so I decided to move this type down a bit too, even though I know how cool it would be to have a Dragon type in Smash. But these 3 kinds of movesets haven't been represented in Smash quite yet. A mischievous Ghost, a swift Bug, and a bulky Earthbender, so our main focus will lie on those. Now, it's time to determine who will be more plausible and who will fall flat. But how exactly will this be determined? Well, here are the rules. Both criterias will have 1 to 3 points. Considering there are Pokemon with dual typings, this means that the maximum of possible points is 9. The points will be determined by just how unique these Pokemon will really be. For generations, each Generation 8 Pokemon will get 3 points, since it's the main focus for newcomers. Generations 3 and 5 will get 2 points, since they aren't represented yet at all, while Generations 2 and 4 will each get 1 point, since they are in the game, but the representation is either weak or it just makes sense to add another one from a marketing standpoint. Also, if a Pokemon evolves from another one from another gen, I will give it credit for both of these generations, so a Pokemon such as Gliscor will get 1 point for Sinnoh and 1 for Johto. Our further determined typings of Rock, Ground, Ghost and Bug will each get 3 points, while the sorted out typings of Ice and Dragon will get 2, since they're still not represented by a Pokemon yet. Steel, Fairy and Poison will each give 1 bonus point for not being represented properly yet. Everything else will get 0 points. A few extra rules. In order to streamline the process, I will only look at Pokemon outside of generations 1, 6 and 7, and only those that have at least one of the 6 types not represented yet by a Pokemon. Except for generation 8, where I will also take a look at Poison, Steel and Fairy. Everything else won't make sense, since the points wouldn't even be high enough to be considered. I will only look at Pokemon with at least 4 points, since otherwise, well, every Gen 8 Pokemon would count, and I really don't want that. Finally, even though this project is supposed to look at the rough numbers, we still want to make at least a bit of sense. We'll consider Pokemon who aren't quite popular, but we won't consider those that just wouldn't work as a fighter. Smash fighters have always been pretty humanoid, even the Pokemon ones. So we can throw in something like, let's say, a Lunatone, since that one fit the tone of Smash. We also won't be considering Pokemon that are too big, bulky or slow, since they wouldn't work in a fighting game either. Sure, a lot of Earth types are big and strong, but there is a certain limit. A Pokemon where you just couldn't imagine it moving around swiftly wouldn't make sense in Smash. And as an additional rule, I will only take a look at fully evolved Pokemon, simply because they have the highest chance of being included. Also, I won't be taking a look at legendary Pokemon, simply because most of them are too big or bulky anyways. Plus, I don't really think any other legendary Pokemon than Mewtwo should be in Smash Bros. Also, final thing for real now, I will not consider if the Pokemon is already part of the Pokeball item. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's finally get to the results, shall we? Now before we get to the considerable Pokemon, here's a list of all the ones who met our criteria of typings or generation, but can't be seen as real possibilities simply because they're not humanoid enough or way too big and bulky. This actually includes some pretty sad cuts we had to make, such as Golurk, who with its type combination and generation would have gotten a total of 8 points, and as such would have been one of the top contenders. But its entire charm stems from being an ancient battle station, which simply wouldn't work in a fast-paced fighting game such as Smash Bros. A lot of bugs also had to be cut because the anthropology would be a bit too off compared to most of the other Smash characters. So one big round of applause for those poor souls that are just too hard to be made into a fighter. Considering our criteria, as I mentioned earlier, the max amount of points you could get is 9, 3 for both of your types and 3 for the generation you come from, plus maybe some bonus points if you evolve from a Pokemon from a previous generation, or if you're a regional variant, which will also count for both generations. We'll take a look at all Pokemon that got at least 4 points up to 9, but I won't go into detail for those who scored lower. Now, starting with the 4-pointers. These Pokemon have a very low chance but could be considered under our criteria. Our 4-point winners are Quagsire, Heracross,
Weald,
Kricketune, Weavile, Rotom, Beartick, Druddigon, Haxorus, Hydreigon, Toxtricity, Hatterene, Grimmsnarl, Berserker, Alcremie, and Galarian Slowbro and Slowking. All of them have something going for them, but it's mostly just a kinda fitting type and generation, so not really considerable. Next up, the 5-pointers. A bit more considerable, but still a group too large to really put them high on our list. The 5-pointers are Sudowoodo, Scizor, Sableye, Banette, Gliscor, Seismitoad, Leavanny, Crocodile, Cofagrigus, Exelgor, Flapple and Appleton, Mr. Rhyme, Ice-Cube, and the Galar Fossils. Personally, I'd love to see some of them in Smash, and I think they could make for really great fighters. Especially Ice-Cube or the Galar Fossils. They could have really interesting mechanics or movesets, but technically they still don't have quite enough, so let's keep on looking for the true best fighter. The 6-point Pokemon have much more going for them, even though they're still a relatively large group. But they're all pretty cool, so here they are. Garchomp, Dusknoir, Excadrill, Escavalier, Orbeetle, Poltegeist, and Stonejourner. Now I don't know about you, but I could really see some of these Pokemon in Smash, especially Garchomp, Excadrill, and Escavalier. I guess you could argue about some of them if they fulfill the humanoid criteria, but I think Orbeetle is one of the bug types who's still pretty standard, but it could definitely work as some sort of drone-like fighter. Now these Pokemon were good, but with our 7-pointers we are entering the great category, and in fact our top 7 picks to make it. The first one is Flygon! As a big fan favorite of Generation 3, this Pokemon combines great design with a great type combination, and since it's from a yet unrepresented generation, has the upper hand against Garchomp. Next we have Galarian Darmanitan. Representing both Gen 8 and 5 as well as the Ice type, this Pokemon could bring interesting ape-like battle styles and its 2 switching forms to the Smash roster, making it a big contender. Then we have Probopass. I thought pretty long about whether or not to include it, but since it's a floating Pokemon, its movement speed won't hold it back from being here. Representing Gens 3 and 4, as well as the Rock and Steel type, it could be a great addition, controlling its hand thingies like small drones. And the final 7-point contender and absolute peak Pokemon perfection is Shuckle! Now granted, I only included it here as a joke, since there is no doubt that its movement speed really holds it back, since it pretty much can't move at all. But you can't deny that a Pokemon which is unable to be knocked off the stage would be damn fun. And there you have it, these 4 Pokemon have high probabilities and make for some of the best representation. But now, it's time to get to the absolute creme de la creme. Now, a quick spoiler. We actually don't have any 9-pointers, so these 3 Pokemon who got 8 points are our top picks. 2 of them might be a bit of a surprise, while the other seems very logical. The first one is Armaldo. All this Pokemon has to offer is an almost perfect type combination of Bug and Rock, as well as being from Generation 3, but I can actually see it utilizing its pincers in a creative way, as well as its rocks. The second one is Frostlass. This Pokemon represents both generations 4 and 3, plus it has the great type combination of Ice and Ghost, making it something that could bring a whole lot of new stuff to Smash Bros, at least as far as Pokemon go. Plus it would make sense from a marketing standpoint, so this Pokemon is a really good pick. But this final Pokemon is still the most logical out of all of them. It's from Generation 8 with the amazing type combination of Ghost and Dragon. Of course, I'm talking about Dragapult! Now this Pokemon is amazing. It's one of the greatest designs from Gen 8 and could make for such a cool fighter. A long-range speedster that can utilize its sweeping missiles as well as strong Dragon and Ghost type moves. It combines the immense power of the Dragon type with the mischievous side of Ghosts, and as such makes for the almost perfect candidate. And there you have it, the best candidate for Smash, at least as far as Pokemon go. Or is it? Well, as it turns out, I might have been lying to you. While it's true that I couldn't find anyone fulfilling the criteria for 9 points, I found someone who went above and beyond. The absolute, undoubtedly best Pokemon to be added to Smash with a whooping 11 points, which, after my criteria, is the absolute maximum you could get considering bonus points. This Pokemon combines 2 not yet represented generations as well as 2 of the 4 types not present in Smash at all. The objectively best Pokemon to add to Super Smash Bros. And clear winner of our little tournament is Runerigus! Yeah, it's true! By being a Gen 8 Pokemon that evolves from a Gen 5 Pokemon's Gala form, as well as having the type combination of Ghost and Ground, this Pokemon fulfills every criteria in a perfect manner, making it the top contender for the last spot in Smash's Fighters Pass, as long as the last spot will be filled out by a Pokemon. Now some of you might be calling me a hypocrite. I had a whole section about Pokemon too bulky to be in Smash and I didn't include the freaking stone? Well, you might be somewhat right, but Runerigus is in fact not a stone but a ghost possessing an old mural. As such, it too is able to levitate and move around rather fast. It might be more on the heavyweight side, but that's no problem. It could combine moves such as Shadow Claw, Sand Tomb, Shadow Ball, Earthquake, and even throw in a couple of rock type moves for good measure. Besides, I've been going through all scenarios, and the fact remains that Runerigus will be the objectively best Pokemon newcomer. It's just too good to not include it here. Now, does that mean it will be in the game? Well, according to my calculations, yes, but obviously it's safe to assume it won't. Even if the last slot should be a Pokemon, I believe the starters or Dragapult would have a much higher chance. Although, personally, I would love most to see Ice Cube, seeing as how it could utilize its Ice Cube in a creative way, and how it could also fill out the role of a final troll fighter. But after all, it's up to Sakurai to surprise us with the final character. However, if Runerigus somehow does turn out to be in the game, well, I think I would actually hide away inside a cave afraid of my own powers. But until then, let's just keep on hoping we'll be getting what we want. Please, for the love of all that is good, I'm begging you, please, this is all I ever wanted!